Your daily life functions as a highly responsive system, constantly reacting to your thoughts, your speech, and your expectations. In 1925, an artist named Florence Scovel Shinn published a thesis arguing that existence is a game of giving and receiving. She proposed that life is governed by a precise law of cause and effect, where every move is recorded and reflected. Within this framework, the board is governed by the unseen weight of the player's internal patterns. What we perceive as luck is often the logical outcome of these hidden rules. Recognizing the mechanics of the system allows an individual to move from the position of a pawn to that of a deliberate player. Unfortunately, most people operate on a daily emotional autopilot, instantly reacting to everyday friction with negative speech and habitual worry. Shen identified the subconscious as a mechanical servant that executes orders without irony. It does not possess a sense of humor. It simply carries out the impressions it receives with minute detail. Chronic complaints and jokes about failure act as a blueprint. When we fixate on scarcity, we are handing our internal servant the exact specifications for a life of lack. When the brain accepts these negative inputs as literal instructions, our behavior unconsciously gravitates toward the same outcomes, constructing a reality of repeated defeat. Modern behavioral science provides a biological framework for these early 20th century claims. Neuroplasticity explains how repeated speech physically forms neural grooves. Each time a signal travels a path, the connection thickens and illuminates. This wiring acts as a filter, priming the brain to detect opportunities that align with your stated goals. Research in the striatum shows a divide between the goal-directed associative loop and the automatic sensory-motor loop. The more we repeat a pattern of speech, the more the brain shifts control toward these rigid, automatic pathways. This physical restructuring ensures that the brain prioritizes the specific sensory data and behavioral responses required to reach a goal. By wiring the mind to recognize success, the manifestation of a new reality becomes the natural byproduct of your own neural recalibration. The second rule of the game involves mastering the internal response, a strategy Shinn called non-resistance. This aligns with the Stoic discipline of Marcus Aurelius, who taught that while we cannot control external events, we have absolute power over our minds. He advocated for an inner mastery that refuses to let the soul be dyed by the destructive actions of others. Cognitive science identifies this discipline as the space between a stimulus and a response. Pausing in this gap allows the prefrontal cortex, the center for rational executive function, to override the amygdala's panic reflex. Sovereignty over your life begins in this internal gap, where you choose a value-based response rather than surrendering to a biological reflex. Habitual tendencies dominate human behavior. In the late 19th century, William James observed that routines start spontaneously, but repeat automatically based on prior experience. Modern psychology suggests these actions are a mirror image of your identity. You act in accordance with the type of person you believe yourself to be. To shift the external board, you must first assume a new internal identity. Changes in behavior stick when they are rooted in a revised belief about who you are. Your external circumstances function as a lagging indicator, reflecting the internal identity you have already established. The ultimate move in the game of life is the deliberate shift from mere reaction to purposeful intention. Mastering the game requires a refusal to let external conditions dictate your internal state. The deliberate alignment of thought, speech, and emotional regulation is the mechanism that shapes the reality you experience.